worst part about what happened that summer wasn't the blood, it wasn't the smell, it wasn't even the sound I heard outside my bedroom window at 3:17 a.m. It was the heat. Because when it's 96 degrees at midnight, when your windows are open, when the cicadas won't stop screaming, you hear everything. And that's how I heard him breathing. This happened 3 summers ago. I was 22 at the time, staying alone at my uncle's lake house in northern Georgia. He had just gone through a divorce and needed someone to watch the place for the summer while he figured his life out in Atlanta. Free lake house, middle of nowhere, no rent? I said yes immediately. The house sat at the end of a narrow gravel road, no neighbors within sight, just woods, thick Georgia pine trees stretching endlessly in every direction. The lake was maybe 200 yards behind the house down a sloped path. During the day, it was peaceful. At night, it felt different. If you've never experienced southern summer heat, it doesn't cool down properly. Midnight still feels like standing in someone's breath. The air sticks to your skin. The house didn't have central AC, just 2 loud window units that barely worked, so most nights I kept my bedroom window open. Big mistake. First night, something felt wrong. It started small. Around 1 a.m., I heard gravel shifting, like someone slowly walking across the driveway. I assumed it was a deer, maybe a raccoon. The woods were full of them. Then it stopped. Silence. Complete silence. Even the cicadas went quiet. If you've ever lived near woods, you know, when insects stop making noise, something bigger is nearby. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, sweating. Then I heard it. A slow exhale, right outside my window. Not an animal. A person. I froze, didn't move, didn't breathe. It came again. A slow inhale, like someone standing directly beneath my window. Looking in, I grabbed my phone. No signal. That's another thing about that lake house. Reception was terrible. I slowly slid off my bed and crouched low. The moonlight came through the open window, lighting part of my room in pale blue, and then a shadow moved across the wall. Someone was there. The footprints. I didn't look outside. I couldn't. Instead, I locked myself in the bathroom and stayed there until sunrise. When morning came, I told myself I imagined it. Heat does weird things. To you. But when I stepped outside to check, there were footprints. Bare footprints. In the dirt under my window. Not one set. 2. One large, one smaller, both facing toward my window. Standing there. Just standing. The second night. I should have left. Know that now, but I didn't want to seem dramatic, so I stayed. That night I locked all doors. Closed the windows. It was unbearable inside. Hot, sticky, suffocating. By 2 a.m., I couldn't take it. I opened the bedroom window again, just a few inches. Around 3:17 a.m., I woke up, not to a sound, to a feeling like someone watching me. I opened my eyes slowly, and there it was, a face pressed against the screen, smiling. The face, it wasn't an old man. It wasn't a monster. It was a teenage boy, maybe 15 or 16, sweat dripping down his forehead, eyes wide, grinning like this was funny. I couldn't move. Then he slowly raised one finger and pressed it against his lips. Shh. Behind him, in the darkness, I saw another shape, taller, watching. The chase. Something snapped in me. I grabbed the baseball bat I kept by my bed and swung at the window. The screen tore. The boy fell backward. I heard running. Not one set of footsteps. 2. They ran toward the woods. I ran outside barefoot, adrenaline overriding fear. Hey! But by the time I reached the tree line, they were gone. Just darkness. And the smell. Body odor. Strong. Close. Too close. The sheriff arrived an hour later. He looked tired. When I described the boy, he went quiet. Then he asked something strange. Did he look sunburned? Yes. Very. The sheriff sighed. Apparently, a father and son had been living off-grid in the woods around the lake for months, squatting, stealing food from cabins, watching houses, They had been reported before, but they never caught them. The son had a habit. He liked watching people sleep. The third night, I didn't leave. I don't know why. Maybe pride, maybe stupidity. I stayed one more night. Biggest mistake of my life. That night I didn't open the window. Didn't unlock anything. Pushed furniture against the doors. Around midnight, I heard something inside the house, a floorboard creak, slow, deliberate. Not outside, inside. They had already been in before I locked up. My bedroom closet door was slightly open. I was sure I had closed it. Slowly, it creaked wider. From inside, breathing, the same breathing. The heat made the room suffocating. I couldn't scream. The closet door opened fully, and the father stepped out. He had been inside my house for hours, watching, waiting, sweating, smiling. The son was under my bed. I don't remember everything clearly. I remember grabbing the bat. I remember screaming. I remember the father lunging. I remember the son crawling out, laughing, and I remember the heat. So much heat. The fight ended when I managed to hit the father in the knee. They ran, this time for good. Police found signs they had been living in the crawl space under the house for weeks. Listening, waiting, choosing the hottest nights, because they knew people open windows when it's too hot to breathe. I don't stay anywhere without AC now. I don't open windows at night, and I can't sleep when it's too hot, because when the air feels heavy, when the insects go quiet, when sweat drips down your neck, sometimes it's not the heat making you uncomfortable. Sometimes, someone is standing outside your window, breathing. This happened in July 2019. I was 19, fresh out of high school. My friend Tyler's parents were out of town for 3 weeks. They owned a large house outside of Phoenix, Arizona. Massive backyard, huge in-ground pool, desert heat that never dropped. Below 90 degrees, even at midnight. It was the perfect summer setup. There were 5 of us: Tyler, the host, Evan, Marco, Jesse, and me. We had done small hangouts before. Nothing crazy, no wild parties, just swimming, music, late night talking. But that week, things felt different. The first night, the heat was unbearable that night, 104 degrees during the day. Even after midnight, it was still 97, the pool water. Felt like bathwater. Around 1:30 a.m., we turned off all backyard lights except the underwater pool lights. The water glowed this faint blue. Everything else was pitch black. Desert silence, no insects, no wind, just the faint hum of the pool filter. Remember floating on my back, staring at the stars, and then something touched my calf. I jerked upright. "Very funny," I said. Everyone was at the shallow end, all 4 of them, looking at me. "Did one of you dive down?" They swore they didn't. I laughed it off. Probably just nerves. Pools mess with your head at night. You can't see the bottom clearly. The deep end was about 10 feet. Dark, blurry. But then Marco said something that made my stomach drop. "Bro, wasn't Jesse just here?" We all turned. Jesse wasn't in the shallow end anymore. The ripples at. First we thought he was joking, hiding underwater, trying to scare us. "Jesse, cut it out." Nothing. Then we saw it. Ripples, in the deep end, but not the kind you make when someone swims. These were small, circular, like something slowly moving beneath the surface. Tyler swam toward the deep end. "Stop playing." No response. He dove down. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15. He came up fast, face pale. He's not down there. The missing phone. We searched the house, the bathrooms, the garage. Nothing. Then we saw his phone, still on the patio chair. Unlocked. Music. App open. No missed calls. No texts. He hadn't left. He didn't have a car there. The backyard gate was locked from the inside. We called his name for nearly 20 minutes. Nothing. Finally, Tyler called the police. They assumed he wandered off, maybe walked home, maybe trying to scare us. But we knew something wasn't right, because the pool lights were still on and the ripples still hadn't fully stopped. The second night, Jesse's. Parents filed a missing person report the next morning. Search teams came, divers checked the pool. Nothing, no body, no blood, no sign of struggle, just clean water. But something was off. That night, none of us wanted to swim, but the heat was brutal and sitting inside without AC strong enough felt worse. So around midnight, we got back in. All four of us stayed close together. No one went near the deep end. Then Evan said quietly, "Why does it smell weird?" He was right. The water had a faint metallic smell, not chlorine, something else. The drain Marco was the one who noticed it. The drain looks darker. At the bottom of the deep end was a large circular drain, usually light gray. Now it looked black. Tyler grabbed the pool skimmer and poked toward it. The pole hit something soft. It moved. The water shifted, and something pale floated upward. Slowly, too slowly. Jesse's arm. What was left? The body came up wrong, twisted, like something had pulled him from below. His eyes were open, mouth slightly parted. There were bruises around his ankles. Perfect hand-shaped bruises, like someone had grabbed him and held on. Police ruled it a drowning. Said he must have gotten stuck on the drain. But we all knew something. You don't get hand-shaped bruises from a drain, and he was a strong swimmer. The final night after that, none of us went back, except Tyler. It was his house. He had to stay. 3 nights later, he called me, at 4 a.m., whispering, "It's in the water." I told him to get inside. He said he was inside, watching from his bedroom window. The pool lights were on, and something was swimming, not splashing, not diving, swimming slowly in circles. He said it looked like a person, but wrong, too thin, too long, arms dragging behind it in the water, like they were broken. The last thing he saw. He stayed on the phone with me, breathing heavy. Then he went quiet. I heard something faint through the phone. Dripping. Not outside. Inside his room. Tyler whispered, "It's wet in here." And then the call cut out. What they found, police found Tyler the next morning, on his bedroom floor, soaked, like he had just climbed out of the pool. But the bedroom was dry, no broken windows, no wet footprints, nothing. Just him, lifeless, bruises around his ankles. The pool, still, clean, blue, perfectly calm. Aftermath. They blamed drugs, heat stroke. Teenagers make bad decisions. That's what the news said, but they never explained why the pool filter kept clogging with long strands of hair, even after they drained it, even after they refilled it, or why the new homeowners removed the entire pool a year later, because they said at night they could hear splashing, even when no one was outside. I don't swim at night anymore, especially not in the summer, because water hides things, and when it's hot enough, when your body feels weightless, when the deep end looks like an open mouth, sometimes what grabs your leg isn't your imagination, and sometimes it doesn't let go. This happened in July 2021. I was 24 at the time, working seasonal maintenance at Lake Mercer Campground in northern Michigan. Summers, there were intense, hot days, heavy humidity, the kind that makes your shirt stick to your back within minutes. The lake stretched wide and dark, surrounded by dense forest. At night, the trees formed a black wall around the water. There were about 60 campsites scattered along the shoreline. Families, couples, groups of college kids. Every year, there were a few accidents, minor stuff. But that summer was different. The first disappearance, it was July 3rd, a Friday night. Packed campground. Around 3:30 a.m., a woman came running to the ranger station screaming. Her boyfriend was gone. They had been sitting by the water. Around 2:30 a.m., he said he was going to walk down to the dock for a minute. He never came back. Search teams combed the shoreline. Divers checked the water. Nothing. Not even footprints beyond his own leading toward the dock. Sheriff called it an accidental drowning. Case closed. The second 5 days later, another man disappeared. Different campsite, different group, same time window. Around 3 a.m., he had stepped out of his tent to use the portable bathroom. His friends thought he wandered off drunk, but he left his phone, his shoes, his wallet. The only thing missing was him. That's when rumors started. People talked about seeing someone walking the shoreline late at night, just pacing. Not fishing, not swimming, just watching. I saw him. I didn't believe it until I saw him. It was July 12th. Hot even at midnight. No wind, the lake surface looked like glass. I was doing routine rounds in a maintenance cart around 2:45 a.m., headlights off so I wouldn't wake campers. As I drove near Site 18, I noticed someone near the water, tall, thin, standing ankle deep, completely still. I assumed it was a camper. I called out quietly, "Parks closed for swimming at night." No response. He slowly turned his head toward me, but his body didn't move, just his head. The way he stared, it wasn't confused, it wasn't annoyed, it was assessing, like he was deciding something. Then he walked, not away from the water, along it, parallel to the shore, barefoot, no splashing, just slow steps. I watched him pass 3 different tents. He paused, at each one, for several seconds, then kept moving. No campsite number. The next morning I reported it. We checked campsite registrations. No one matching that description. No solo male campers. No one claiming to have walked at that hour. Security cameras. Near the entrance. Nothing. He wasn't recorded entering or leaving. The third disappearance. 2 nights later, it happened again. This time, it was worse. A 16-year-old boy camping with his parents. They said he woke up sweating around 3 a.m., said he felt like someone was outside. His father told him to relax. 10 minutes later, the boy went quiet. When the parents checked, the tent zipper was open, the sleeping bag empty. No signs of struggle, just one thing. Wet footprints, leading away from the tent, toward the shoreline. But here's what made everyone uneasy. The footprints were larger than the boys, and there were only one set. Patterns by mid-July, 5 people were gone. All male, all between 16 and 32 years old, all last seen between 2:40 and 3:15 a.m., all near the shoreline, and every single campsite reported someone seeing a man walking near the water. Police increased patrols. Nothing, no sightings, no arrests, no bodies. The night everything changed. July 21st, heat advisory. Even at 2 a.m., it was 89 degrees. Humidity thick enough to taste. I volunteered for night patrol again. Part of me wanted to see him, to prove to myself he was just some creep, not something worse. At 2:52 a.m., I saw movement near Site 27A, teenage group camping, 6 of them, all asleep in 2 tents. And there he was, walking slowly past their tents. He stopped, stood there, head tilted slightly, listening. I parked my cart and stepped out. "Hey," he turned. This time fully. He was maybe mid-40s, skin pale but sunburned, hair short, eyes wide, not blinking, and his feet, they were covered in mud. Thick black lake mud. He smiled, not friendly, not threatening, just satisfied. Then he stepped into the water and kept walking until it reached his waist, chest, neck. Then he disappeared beneath the surface. No splash, no struggle, just gone. We drained. Part of the lake police took it seriously after my statement. They brought in divers, sonar equipment, even partial shoreline excavation. Nothing. No bodies, no tunnels, no evidence of someone living nearby. But disappearances stopped for about 3 weeks. The last night of summer, August 14th, closing weekend rush, campground. Full again, I was exhausted, ready for season to end. At 3:07 a.m., I got a radio call, screaming at Site 42. When I arrived, chaos, a college kid missing, friends hysterical, said he stepped out to pee. They heard him whisper something, then silence. I ran to the shoreline and saw it, footprints, fresh, large, leading into the water, and beside them, another set, smaller, dragging the Discovery. 2 days later, they found a body, 30 miles downriver, caught in a fallen tree. It wasn't one of the missing campers. It was older, decomposed, estimated to have been dead for years. Male, mid-40s, barefoot. No. Cause of death determined. Dental records couldn't identify him. But here's the part that made me quit that job. His feet. They were packed with black lake mud, the same mud I saw on the man walking the shoreline. And here's the timeline. Medical. Examiner estimated he had been dead at least 5 to 7 years, long before that summer. Aftermath authorities blamed a copycat predator. Said maybe multiple offenders. Cases went cold. Campground attendance dropped. By next summer, they installed floodlights along the entire shoreline. Curfew enforced strictly. No one allowed near the water after midnight. Disappearances stopped. Officially. But here's what still bothers me. Every disappearance happened on the hottest nights, when tents were unzipped for airflow, when people slept closest to the entrance, when the air felt too heavy to breathe, and I still dream about that night. The way he turned his head first, then his body. The way he walked into the lake without hesitation, like it belonged to him, like he had done it before, many times. I don't camp near water anymore, especially not in summer, because lakes don't just drown people. Sometimes, they keep things. And sometimes, on the hottest nights of the year, when everyone is sweating and half asleep, something walks the shoreline, looking for the next person who won't be missed until morning.